We approached the writing very much differently than we did the first one. Geezer had gone, so we wrote in a very controlled environment in a living room with little amplifiers. And with Mob Rules, we hired a studio and we just turned up as loud as possible and, you know, just smashed through it all. So it made for a different kind of an attitude. More difficult for me to have to sing over all that and try to create while all that's going on. So it was a lot harder for me than the first album was. And a lot of times success breeds problems. And that happened. I felt that really did happen, that all of the bad things that could be used were used, you know, from drug abuse to mental abuse. I just found that it all happened. So it didn't make for that happy ending.
Is the band happy now? Because we've heard so many rumours about splits, even now, in that Black Sabbath have got people coming and going. Is it a happy band and a permanent band?
Yes, it is. The reasons for the comings and goings, there's only been one other change beside myself, and that's the drummer. And Bill Ward left of his own volition. He felt that mentally he was getting very overburdened. His mom and dad died within a space of about 9 months of each other. They were very close, of course. He was living in the States, and he didn't get to see them very much. And when they did pass away, it was quite a blow to him. We were on the road at the time. We were in the studio when his mom died. He had to leave the tour twice in America because he just really mentally couldn't take it, and he came to us and said, "Look, I just really don't think I can go on anymore. Could we stop for a while?" And we did stop for a while, and then he said, I really don't want to carry on. I'll give you some suggestions for drummers. And he suggested Vinny, who's our drummer now. And we still have a very close relationship with Bill. We care about Bill as much as we ever did, and Bill cares about us as much as he ever did. I'm sure it looks as though it's one of those who's going to be next situations, but it
does seem to be with
sure.
the press,
Well, it's only because Bill needed to get away from it. He needed to clear the cobwebs, and we, of course, couldn't afford financially or from a success standpoint to stop in midstream, because it was a replacement year for this band. It was the band's kind of rising from the ashes, so to speak. And if we stopped, I think that would have halted the impetus that we had going for us, and we didn't want to stop that success. And Bill agreed that we should carry on, and so we did. And it's not a matter of anyone else going to leaving. There's no more chopping and changing. This will be permanent, we hope.
The Mob Rules was really the eye-opener, joining Black Sabbath and then being actually asked to make the album, and plus it was heavy, it was dark, and that's the kind of stuff I like to play. So Mob Rules, we went in, we wrote the songs in a room in California. Tony and Geezer were living out here temporarily. And so we'd go in and jam and sweat it out and record it on a cassette and all this stuff. I would be in charge of the cassettes. And that's how we put the songs together.
For very ominous and scary as hell in the dream. I was like I rounded a bend of all this chaos and junk and devastation and buildings and glass and all kinds of crap, and there are these guys that are just standing there like this, swaying very slowly with these whips. And gradually I'm realizing as I'm drawing this stuff out what the image means or what it was about, and what the sense that I had in the dream of what was going on there. That is to say, that rack with that skin is a stretched skin, and that was me. That's me on the rack. That's me. That's them. Now, them per se wouldn't mean necessarily the particular guys that were taking over the Society of the Propagation of Faith, but maybe so, but more representative of this whole consciousness out there that I was thinking about back in them days, you know?
Right.
And the feeling that I had about that image was not that skin on the rack was me, but that they, faceless, were all composed of skins of previous victims. That was the feeling that I had in the dream, or the sense that came to me in the dream, you know?
Right.
That they were, all the wrappings on them are more or less their past victims that they just kind of like rip off the rack and cover themselves up with.
Wow.
And then all the junk is just a war and pits of blood and ovens and, you know, are all kind of like in the background. It is sewage it's a devastation at the edge of some destroyed zone, place, city, you know, with all the sewage and everything dumping down into this. So, you know, that's the image. That's what it came from.
Right.
So you could see like kind of like that, and then it ends up in the art book, and it was actually the beginning for me of wanting to get into the gallery scene.
Hey everybody, welcome to part 10 of my Black Sabbath album deep dive series. This one has been a long time coming. Their 10th studio album, Mob Rules. Now back 2 years ago when I did my original Black Sabbath deep dive series, for some reason, every piece of music, every video that I tried to use to do this video got blocked. No idea why, but I'm like, I need to revisit it. I've had a number of people ask me if I could please try it again. So I did. And if you're watching this video, obviously it works. So I'm happy for that. But very happy to talk about the second Black Sabbath album with Ronnie James Dio. This was released in November of 1981. It was the first album with Vinny Appice on drums. Bill Ward had been struggling with alcoholism, and he quit halfway through the Heaven and Hell tour, even though the official explanation was he needed time to cope with the loss of both of his parents. But Vinny Appice had been a huge Black Sabbath fan, and Bill Ward was one of his favorite drummers, so it was a very smooth transition to the new drummer. This time around, the writing was very different. The band convened in Toluca Lake, Los Angeles to begin recording the album, and many of these songs were born out of jam sessions where the band just got together, started jamming, and any interesting ideas that they had made it into the final record. Martin Birch produced the album. However, he, as was the case with many of the band members, were struggling with drugs and substance abuse during the recording of this album. But like some of the earlier Sabbath albums, where drugs had very much been a problem during the recording sessions, I don't think that bears out at all on this album. There have been some very mixed reviews over the years on this record, but retrospectively, this album is looked at as one of the greatest in Black Sabbath's catalog. Many people have cited it as their favorite, and I can completely understand why. The band has said they weren't happy with the production, that Martin Birch wasn't doing his best work. I think this is one of the strongest albums of Ronnie James Dio's career. His voice sounds absolutely amazing, particularly on a track like Sign of the Southern Cross. Think about how many times I have fallen. No, not that one. The cover itself is a painting called Dream One, The Crucifiers. It was painted by Greg Hildebrand. He had originally been commissioned by the Catholic Church to collaborate on a documentary about world hunger, and that fell through, and so he was a little bit bitter, and this was the first in a series of paintings that he came up with. The album reached number 12 in the UK, number 29 in the US. There were 3 singles taken from Mob Rules. The first one was the title track, the second one was Turn Up the Night, and the last one was Voodoo. Turn Up the Night reached the highest, hitting number 24 in the US and number 37 in the UK singles chart. Let's dive right into the songs on Mob Rules. The opening track is a total banger, Turn Up the Night. It's got a heavy chugging rhythm, and it was actually used for a beer commercial back in the 80s. Okay, no it wasn't, but it's still one of the greatest opening tracks to a Sabbath album. I mean, just listen to Tony on the guitar. The next track is Voodoo. Lyrically, it's talking about some sort of malevolent force that's exerting power and control over another individual and warning of the consequences if you try to resist this control. Musically, it's a medium-paced rocker. You have a killer Tony Iommi guitar riff. Ronnie singing in that menacing operatic voice is amazing. The rhythm section chugging along so tight and perfectly. And another amazing guitar solo that just makes this song one of the standouts on this record. next song is Sign of the Southern Cross, which is the centerpiece of the album and my own personal favorite on this record. Lyrically, it's about using the Crux constellation, otherwise known as the Southern Cross, for guidance and inspiration, spiritual inspiration, or whatever inspiration you take from it. Now, I did pull a little interview clip from Neil deGrasse Tyson just to give you an idea of what exactly the Southern Cross is.
So there's a Northern Cross, which we love here in the Northern Hemisphere, and there's a Southern Cross. But they're really different from each other.
Okay.
The Southern Cross is embarrassing compared to the Northern Cross.
Oh, no.
Okay? The Southern Cross has 4 stars in it.
Okay.
It's in the shape of a rhombus. There is no star
There's no
at the
cross.
transept.
Right, yeah.
So you could have just drawn a rhombus. To remind people from 8th grade geometry, a rhombus is like take a perfect square, sit on it, distort the sides, and then you get a rhombus, okay? So it is a stretch to call the Southern Cross a cross.
Isn't light when no one sees, then how can I know what you might believe? A story told that can't be real somehow must reflect the truth we feel. Fade away, vanish into smoke. Fade away, break the crystal ball.
Ronnie's vocal on this song is just amazing. So I want to play some of it in isolation because to my mind, it's got to be the greatest performance that Ronnie ever gave on a song. And that's saying something, but it just shows how powerful his vocal is on this particular track.
From the book, the word is spoken, whispers from forgotten song. Gather all around the young ones, they will make us strong. Reach above your dreams of pleasure, give a life to those who die. Look beyond your own horizons, sail the ship of sight. And it's the sign of the Southern Cross. It's the sign of the Southern Cross. Fade away, fade away. Break the crystal ball. Fade away, fade away. I can't accept it anymore.
Now, if that doesn't give you goosebumps, you're watching the wrong deep dive series. Just incredible. It's such a fantastic track and a top 5 Black Sabbath song for me. The next track is E5150, which whenever I see that, I can't help but thinking of the Van Halen album, even though this came 5 years before. But still, it's an instrumental like Tony Iommi was known to do on previous Black Sabbath albums. This did appear in the heavy metal movie, although it wasn't on the soundtrack proper like the title track Mob Rules was. But it's an alright instrumental. I mean, you can't really describe it as anything other than filler, although it's a little more interesting than, say, FX off Volume 4. So E5150 segues right into the title track, The Mob Rules, which was also featured in the movie Heavy Metal. And for me, this is the reason why I prefer Mob Rules over Heaven and Hell any day of the week. And it's not that Heaven and Hell is bad. I love Heaven and Hell, but there's just a power and an energy and a confidence in this material that is just a little bit higher for me than on Heaven and Hell. I love this track. It's such a barn burner. Are you allowed to say barn burner about a heavy metal track? I don't know. I don't know any other way to describe it, but it just kicks so much ass. And I love side 1 of this record. Might be one of my favorite Black Sabbath sides of all time. Side 2 opens with Country Girl, which is kind of an uncharacteristic love song from Black Sabbath. We don't get too many of those in their catalog, but Ronnie did write a few, and this one is a great one. This, of all the songs on this record, is probably the one I could kind of picture Ozzy singing. Maybe it's just the way that Ronnie sings, Maybe it's just the way that Ronnie sings the riff because that's what Ozzy would have done. But still, it's a very cool, hard-rocking song. This got a little bit of a country feel to it, but not too much more, I guess, in the rhythm than obviously any of the instrumentation here. But a really cool way to open up the second side. another incredible vocal from Ronnie James. Let me play a clip of his vocal right here.
Fell in love with a country girl, burning sunshine. She was up from another world, just to bust another soul. Her eyes were burning flame, holy lightning. Desire, what a special name, made to snatch your soul away. Yeah.
The next track is Slipping Away, and this one reminds me a lot of a Led Zeppelin. I could totally hear Robert Plant putting some vocals and lyrics to this song. It's got a very thick and heavy Jimmy Page type guitar riff. The drumming is reminiscent of John Bonham, although not quite as powerful, but still, Vinny gives it a great performance. And I do like this one. It's kind of one of those like underrated tracks on this record, but love it to death. The next track is Falling Off the Edge of the World, and here we have Sabbath playing to their strengths, going back to that sludgy, doomy metal sound that we loved from those classic early Ozzy years. But I like that we're going back to, we had that string of Technical Ecstasy and then Never Say Die, and to some extent Heaven and Hell, where we didn't really get that classic dirge-like Sabbath sound, but we get it here, much to everyone's delight, I'm sure. But I love this one too. I wish they would have closed the album with this song. I don't know, it just feels like it's a little more apropos to be a final track, a great way to close out what is a fantastic album, but they didn't. But it's still near the end, so I'm not complaining.
I think about closing the door, and lately I think
The last track is Over and Over, and if I had to rank the songs on this record from favorite to least favorite, this would probably be my least favorite. Not that I don't like it. It's fine. I'm just not sure it's a great way to end the album, but who am I to say? It's just a little too, I don't know, it's got kind of a depressive mood to it. The lyrics are about somebody who's going through some shit. Could be depression, could be whatever. I mean, life happens, but just a little bit too slow. Kind of a downer, I guess, for me to close out the album, but it's fine. I do not hate it. I know there's going to be somebody in the comments who's like, you're crazy, that song's awesome. I'm not saying it's not. Just not a huge favorite of mine. But if you like it, that is great. So anyway, that is the end of a video I never thought I would actually be able to make, but here it is. So hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and take care.